Dear students, after covering dip and strike and the unit 3, we have covered faults, their classification, how they occur, what are their causes, and how they affect the geology of rocks. And in similar fashion, I have discussed about the types of faults. Uh, After completing the fault portion, I have discussed about faults also, and all the parameters of the faults also. Fault has been discussed very clearly. Go through the videos, try to revise unit 1 also. In unit 1 we have covered the interior structure of the earth, rock forming minerals and their classifications, uh, their physical properties, rock as an engineering and building material, and uh, we have also discussed the application of earth sciences in the different arenas. In unit 2, I have discussed about the origin, properties, texture about of the igneous rock, metamorphic rocks, and sedimentary rocks. After that, I have discussed the engineering properties of the rocks. So today I would like to start from the joints. So listen carefully. Joints are the fracture found in all types of rocks. They are cracks or openings formed due to the various reasons. Naturally, the presence of joints divides the rock into the number of the parts or blocks. In simple terms, through the joint may be described as mere cracks in a rock. They differ mutually. Joints like cleavages of mineral occur oriented in definite direction and as a set. So this is basically the joints. You can see in the diagrams, jointed rocks looks like this manner. This is bed contained joints. This is throwing joints. Soft to rigidity, bed contained and throwing joints with different orientation. Bed contained and throwing joints with similar orientation. So this is another field example of jointed rock mass. Effects of joint. So from the civil engineering point of view, joints are most important because they split the rock into a number of the pieces, which in turn reduce the competence of the rock mass, increase the porosity and permeability, and make them susceptible to the quick decay and weathering. Joint, but a few advantages that accompany joints are their occurrence increases the groundwater potential in any place. So these are the tension joints: strike joint, oblique joint, maximum pressure, and dip joint. So this is the way you can see. This set of example is another type of example of joint in the rock mass. Joints, though they resemble faults but appear as the fractures in the rock, are not as dangerous as the fault. This is so primarily because the region affected by the joints are not liable to reoccurrence of the joints in the future as happens in the case of the faults. Thus, places where the joints occur are not very unstable for foundation purpose. Also, the area affected by the joints can be easily improved by methods such as suitable cement grouting or plunging. Parts of joints like faults refer to the fracture in the rocks, hence like faults, inclined and vertical joints also can be described by their attitude. However, in the joints, the fracturing blocks are not named as footwall or hanging wall. Classification of joints. Classification based on the relative attitude of the joints. When the joints are parallel to the strike and dip of the adjacent bend, they are called strike joints or dip joints, respectively. If the strike direction of the joint is parallel neither to the strike nor dip direction of adjacent bed, then such joints are called oblique joints. If the strike direction, dip direction, and dip amount coincides completely with the attitude of the adjacent bed, they are called bedding joints. Classification based on the origin of the joints. Most of the joints are formed due to either tensional forces or shearing forces. Accordingly, they are described as tension or shear joint. Uh, so this is the dip joint. This is a strike joint. This is tension joint, and this is the oblique joint, conjugate shear joint, and this is maximum principal stress direction. Unconformity. Unconformities is one of the Common geological structure found in the rock. It is somewhat different from other structures like fold, faults, and joints, in which the rocks are distorted, deformed, or dislocated at a particular place. Still, unconformity is a product of diastrophism and involve tectonic activity in the form of upliftment and subsidence of the landmass. So this is diagram A is an example of angular unconformity. Diagram B is an example of disconformity, and diagram C is an example of non-conformity. When a sedimentary rocks are formed continuously or regularly one after the another without any major break, they are said to be conformable beds, and this phenomena is called conformity. All the beds belonging to the conformable sets shall possess the same strike direction, dip direction, and dip amount. On the other hand, if a major break occurs in a sedimentation in between two sets of conformable beds, it is called unconformity. There are different types of unconformities. All types of unconformities have two different stages. That is, one set is older and other set is younger, having depositional break in between. Unconformities. So in this diagram you can see from west to east how unconformity is occurring. Truncation, rift type basin, unconformity. This blue line is showing on. This is margin. Atlantic type, onlap, offshore Labrador. Hiatus, an unconformity which represent a long geological period during which a break in sedimentation has occurred, is known as hiatus. Depositional hiatus. So in this diagram you can see the depositional hiatus with the blue line. Depositional hiatus, this is apparent truncation, downlap, top lap, and downlap again from south to north. Types of unconformities based on the factors such as type of rock, relative attitude of sets involved, and their extent of occurrence. The different types of unconformities are named as non-conformity. When the underlying older formation are represented by igneous or metamorphic rocks, and the overlying younger formation are called sedimentary rocks, the unconformity is called non-conformity. So this is disconformity, this is non-conformity, and this is angular conformity. Angular conformity: when the younger bed and the older set of strata are not mutually parallel, then the unconformity is called angular unconformity. In such a cases, bed of one set occur with a greater tilt or folding. Disconformities: on the other hand, if the bed of the younger and older set are mutually parallel and contact plane of two sets is the only an erosion surface, then the unconformity is called disconformities. In this case, the lower set of the beds have undergone denudation before the deposition of the overlying strata commenced. Paraconformity: when the two sets of the beds are parallel and the contact is a simple bedding plane, the unconformity is called paraconformity, and such a unconformity is inferred by the features like sudden change in fossil content or in a lithological nature. This is paraconformity, this is non-conformity, and this is disconformity. These are the diagrams of types of unconformity. Regional and local unconformities: when an unconformity extend over a larger or over a greater area, if it is called regional, regional unconformity. On the other hand, if an unconformity occur over the relatively small area, it is called local unconformity. Recognition of unconformity: some of the evidences which help in the recognition of the unconformity are difference in the attitude of two adjacent sets of bed, remarkable differences in the nature, age, and types of bed, occurrence of the residual soil, laterite, bauxite along the unconformity surface, considerable difference in the degree of metamorphism of the two adjacent sets of the beds, stratification, correlation of the lithological peculiarities. All of these and other evidences are inherently linked up with the process of unconformity formation. So this is a type of recognition of unconformities. You can see this is in the field. So these are some books: Engineering and General Geology by Praveen Singh, textbooks of Engineering Geology by N. Chenna. You can also open this geology.com. So thanks. So this is a picture which is showing they are laying the railway line. So in any kind, actually in subsequent topics, uh, so here structural geology is over. Uh, Now in this unit I would discuss about landslides, and later in the unit 4 we will discuss about the earthquakes. After discussing landslides and earthquake, I will discuss some geophysical methods which are taken to get the properties about the underground masses. And after that, the most important topic which I will like to discuss in unit 4th and unit 5th is like geological consideration one geologist or one civil engineer should take for the construction of building, for the construction of dams, reservoirs, tunnels, highways, bridges. So what are the certain geological consideration which have to be taken while considering this infrastructure? So try to revise the topics, try to revise the unit 1, unit 2, unit 3. If you are feeling any problem, feel free to ask. So always I am here to answer your queries. Thank you, student. Thank you for listening to me.